All right, I got a question here for you, and it's two questions. I want you to argue for the 14 playoff, and then I want you to argue for the 18 playoff. Which one do you want to pick first?
Well, the argument for the 14 playoff was that when it was birthed, it was a big improvement over the BCS. The shortcomings are there. I guess the argument for it is that you feel like you have a good chance to have 3 competitive playoff games. An 18 playoff, I think, is inevitable, and it was only a matter of time when conferences like the Big Ten start getting excluded. Suddenly, Jim Delaney is a proponent of the 18 playoff. Hated the idea before. All those conference commissioners did not want an 18 playoff until they start getting left out and self-interest comes in. And I understand that. They're in the business of strengthening and enhancing their own league, not the overall sport. So when it's bad for the Big Ten to have a 14 playoff, let's go to 8. Same thing for the Pac-12 and other conferences that get excluded. So I think it's headed in that direction. How you implement it, the devil's in the details. I don't think you can just keep adding games, Dan. And I don't like the excuse, well, in high school they play 15, 16 games, and so do they in the lower divisions. If you've been ringside for these playoff games, round 15 for Bama and Georgia last year, for example, I mean, just to add another game on doesn't make sense. And ask yourself this. It's really about opportunity and optics to go to 8. Because now you're going to get all the Power 5 champions in, because that's the only way it's ever going to happen. Politically, you're going to get 5 conference championships, maybe a group of 5. You're going to get 2 at large. So you're going to get 2 SEC teams in every year out of the 8. You're going to get that other at-large team will be a second Big Ten team or a second Big 12, or if the ACC ever had 2 quality teams again, but that's what you're looking at. And then you're going to look at 4 quarterfinal games, probably at campus sites. So who's going to go into Tuscaloosa and win a playoff game, or go to Death Valley, Clemson? I mean, it's possible, but is it likely? Don't you think a lot of years you'd have the same 4 teams in the semis that you would have had anyway in a 14 playoff? Like I said, it's about the possibilities and the opportunities, and I think it'll get there.
I think the opportunity is the key. That it's just like March Madness. I don't want to take away from the regular season. March Madness is taken away from the regular season. It's pretty much moot to me. But the regular season in college football, if I got rid of the conference championship games, and I did have these quarterfinal games, I think that college football would own a couple of weekends here, as opposed to, oh, by the way, we're going to come up for air in a couple of weeks, and we got a couple of bowl games for you that, for the national championship.
That's what I said about the no one being really in charge of the sport overall, making wise decisions for what's better for the game. And it's never been that way, and it's not going to be that way probably. But there are weeks in the regular season in college football where the schedules are incredibly weak. I saw some Saturdays this season that are the worst I've ever seen, because there is no central control of scheduling. The SEC plays those virtual buys late in the year against the FCS teams, and it takes kind of a breather for their starters so they can get ready for the rivalry games. That's done so widely now, it's not even worth complaining about anymore. It's just a part of the sport. But I think you have to get rid of the conference championship game tier. That was my point before.
Yeah.
If you're going to go to 8, you don't need to have those games. The SEC is really the only conference championship game that year in, year out is a sellout and kind of like captivates fans across the conference. The other conference championship games matter to the 2 fan bases that are involved, but that's it. And I think if you got rid of those, it would cost the SEC some money. That's one of their crown jewels, but you'd make up for it by having a whole pile of cash and a virtual guarantee of having two teams in the playoff every year from that league. So I think that would have to happen, and I don't think it'd be that big a deal if it did.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.